Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. Let's start today's video off with Mr. Olympia Hadi Choopan. Hadi posted up this video 2 days ago, but it was taken at 8 weeks out. And in the caption of this post, Hadi said, "Be silent until we meet again on stage." And I'm pretty sure that's a response to anyone saying that Hadi isn't going to win this year's Olympia title. Even though he's the reigning Mr. Olympia, he's one of the guys that's probably talked about the least. Mostly Derek Lunsford, Samson Dowda, maybe even Nick Walker. And Hadi's conditioning at 8 weeks out is honestly better than some bodybuilders bring to a stage in their entire career. But of course, it's Hadi Choopan, the king of conditioning. And I'm actually going to double down and triple down on my prediction for Hadi to win this year's Olympia. So I kind of spoiled my #1 prediction, and it's still crazy to me because every year there have been a large group of people saying that Hadi Choopan was robbed. Hadi should have won the Olympia. People said that Hadi should have won in 2019 and 2021. But once he finally captures the title, Hadi is a weak champion and he isn't going to retain it. Well, we're less than 2 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia. So do you guys think the Persian Wolf Hadi Choopan will retain his Mr. Olympia title? Because personally, I do. Now, in the next update of the day, we have a recent update from the mutant Nick Walker, who is also gunning to get that Olympia title this year. And Nick's game plan is to overwhelm Derek Lunsford and Hadi Choopan. Nick is bigger than both of them. He brings good conditioning. He just doesn't have the structure of a Hadi or a Derek. But Nick thinks if he comes in bigger with the same conditioning, he can just simply overwhelm them. And that is definitely a possibility. I'm looking forward to seeing what Nick is going to bring this year. I think it's going to be special. Now let's switch over to Hunter Labrada. Hunter has been a little bit quiet when it comes to physique updates. He's usually a guy that puts out a video going through every single pose. But Hunter isn't really being talked about much going into this show. Now, something we all have to consider, Hunter is a favorite of the judges. Tyler Mannion said Hunter has one of the best back double biceps in bodybuilding, and Andrew only beat him by 1 point in prejudging and finals. So keep that in mind. Now let's switch over to Tonio Burton. Conditioning looks insane ahead of the Mr. Olympia. I think Tonio has already surpassed the New York Pro version when it comes to that. And once this guy fills up, he's going to look incredible. And I'm pretty sure we all know that Tonio is gunning for a top 10 spot this year. He wants to actually do well, not just be on that Olympia stage. But let me know in the comment section below, where do you guys currently have Tonio placing at this year's show? Can he crack that top 10? And in the next update of the day, we have some news courtesy of Olympia News. I actually grabbed this from RX Muscle. Shout out to Dave Palumbo and the team. But going forward, only the top 3 from the Mr. Olympia qualify for next year. And I think this is a pretty good idea. They basically want to do this so that there are more stars at the shows throughout the year. Now, as far as last year's Olympia, the open division, it wouldn't have really mattered because Brandon and Rami have Olympia titles, so they're qualified for life. But I honestly think this is a good move. It makes guys compete a little bit more. Now, on the other hand, as far as the athletes, it does suck a little bit because getting into that top 5 at the Mr. Olympia meant you got an entire year off to improve. But let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on this. I think it's great for the fans. We get to see more high-level athletes compete throughout the year. But it sucks a little bit because we have 2 people, 4th and 5th, from every division that now have to requalify. Now let's switch over to 212. We have a recent update from the giant killer Shaun Clarida, 2-time reigning 212 Olympia champion. And Shaun is going to be very hard to beat. This guy is still making improvements. And if I'm not mistaken, Shaun Clarida is 40 years old, still improving. And of course, he's coached by Matt Jansen, who again doesn't miss. Now, Shaun definitely has a lot of guys aiming to knock him out. Angel Calderon, Ole Crivy, even Keone Pearson. I think he'll hold them off. Now, speaking of Keone Pearson, the prodigy, we have a recent update. And Keone has been staying pretty covered up as of late. Going into the Texas Pro, he was posting a lot of updates. But people are looking at Keone. He was 6th place last year. They're looking at him to jump up into their top 2, top 3, and it's definitely a possibility. The best structure in the top 6, the best poser. Keone just has to bring the conditioning. And again, he's a young guy. He also needs muscle maturity. Keone in his 20s isn't going to have as much muscle maturity as Shaun Clarida at 40, but let me know your thoughts on Keone Pearson this year. Do you guys think he has a chance to knock out the champ Shaun Clarida? And let's switch over to classic physique. We have a recent physique update from the Black Swan, Breon Ansley. And I really hope Breon isn't fooling me with some really good angles, and I hope his legs really look this good on the Olympia stage. I said this about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think we're going to see the best Breon Ansley we've seen in at least the past 2 or 3 years, based off what I've been seeing in physique updates. But Breon is a pretty good poser, so we'll see on that Olympia stage. Now let's switch over to Michael DaBoul. This guy's physique, again, changes so fast. Michael said he was 2 pounds away from the weight cap about 2 days ago, so I would guess he's either at the weight or still around 1 or 2 pounds off. But I think it's very noticeable that this guy has added a good amount of size, especially in this back double. This is a different Michael DaBoul. Now let's switch over to Mike Sommerfeld, 5th place at last year's Olympia, a guy that should definitely not be overlooked. Take a look at the structure, the conditioning. This guy has definitely made improvements pretty much everywhere, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring to the stage. I'm not predicting Mike to win even the top 3, but he'll place well. Now let's go ahead and wrap up today's video here with the archive of the day. You guys let me know in the comment section below, who is this bodybuilder? And as always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. And also, I noticed a few comments on my last video saying that I'm a little bit late covering updates, and I do apologize for that. For you guys that don't know, I'm also a full-time general manager at a gym, and I'm also the head personal trainer at that gym. So my schedule can get a little bit crazy, but that will not be an issue for the Mr. Olympia. Speaking of, like the video and subscribe to the channel. My next video will be my 2023 Olympia predictions. I'm Shaun from Go Fitness, and I believe that's it. I'm out.